I did not have anybody telling me where to go, what direction I needed to go in, how to become what I am now. I just had to figure it out. And I figured there's going to be some kids out there that if they are able to figure this out early on, if I knew that as a kid, I was 7 years old and I loved to draw. If I knew that I could have created a brand out of a cartoon character that I just created, and I could make money and develop shows and make apparel and, you know, paraphernalia and all kinds of other things out of this one cartoon character and knew how to develop that into a business, I would have done it. But now I can tell a kid, I can go into a classroom and be like, hey, so what do you like to do? They're like, oh, I just like I like watching TV. Oh yeah, man, do you know that you could actually, you like shows and development and TV and directing? You could turn that into a business if that's really what you like. You know, if it is just something as simple as just watching TV or playing video games, you know, which is even more innovative. Oh, you can make a living off of playing video games if you wanted to. You know, so giving them that ability to think about that as an option and knowing that I can literally be whatever I want to be and take the talent that I have and flip it into something. That's what I want these kids to see. I want them to see, I didn't know what civil engineering meant or what a civil engineer did until well into my career. Like, I was studying math and science, and I was like, for
just
what?
Kind of fell into it.
I just fell into it. They're like, oh, you could
this
be.
This shit sound good. It sound like they paying motherfuckers for this.
Bro, I went from thinking I would be just an algebra teacher to then accountant to then architect to then civil engineer. Like, that was the progression. Because every time I looked up these things, I learned more and more about the next step of what I could be. And, you know, engineer was the top of it. I was like, okay, damn, you know, this is way off from just being an algebra teacher, but, you know, we can build buildings and water tanks and bridges and whatever else, you know, infrastructure.
So you started off, your passion with the youth is just to inspire and to basically catapult them into
follow their dreams.
Not having to make the mistakes or having an ignorance that we just had to deal with because of the timing, you know, the timing that we grew up. So one of the things that I'd like us to talk about, you have a nephew right now who is playing ball for Miami. Is that accurate?
Miami University.
Cameron McGusty?
Cameron,
Let's talk about that for a second, because the NCAA just came out with this rule called the NIL.
Right.
And for those who aren't familiar, that's the name, image, and likeness rule, meaning any athlete in any sport, any collegiate student basically can monetize off their name, image, and likeness.
Right.
He's a great player. He played for the Oklahoma Sooners as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was Oklahoma his first 2 years. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? What kind of, he hits you up? I know y'all talk often, Uncle Reeks, this is what I'm doing.
This morning.
Okay. So what kind of advice are you giving him? Life advice, and specifically how he needs to handle his business. And with this new pronouncement, I don't know if you guys have talked about that. What kind of conversations have y'all had with regards to that topic?
Well, just recently, last week, so he was supposed to enter the draft, and he decided to come back to Miami for one more year.
Okay.
He's always had aspirations of own his own business, and he just told me this morning, he said, man, Uncle Reeks, he's like, man, I'm kind of like you. I don't think I could work for anybody. I need to do my own thing. And I was like, I said, man, this is a perfect opportunity for you with this new rule to start your own business and begin to use this rule to develop something that you can make money off of. Something as simple as T-shirts, little items, whatever that you can make your mark with. And it doesn't matter if you sell a lot or if you don't. What matters is you begin to develop this plan. So he has an undergraduate degree in what is his degree in? I think it's in sports administration. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. And I was telling him last week, I said, man, you need to go ahead and enroll and get your MBA. And this will ensure that you can begin to move in the direction of understanding business. Mm-hmm. And you can run, any business that you want, whether it's, running a Burger King
or a car wash
mm-hmm. or anything.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what he was saying. He's like, I want to know the ins and outs of business. And I was telling him, I said, look, I do not have a business degree, but I learned about business from my company that I worked in before I became a full-time DJ. And what I was able to do is take my experience with running projects and engineering and use it as a go-by. And that's what we used to do in engineering. We wouldn't recreate any projects from scratch. We had an old project that we had already developed, and we would just take it and then erase a few things and put in and put in new stuff.
Stretch it out about 20 feet.
New project. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is our old go by, and then we make it into the new one.
I mean, that's smart. Why reinvent the wheel?
Why? For what?
Mm-hmm. You're wasting time.
And that is all I did. All I did was take some of that knowledge and apply it to DJing. It is literally the same thing. Every business is the same, no matter what you're doing. It is the same pinpoint, and it's the same type of go by. You just have to apply it in different, aspects of business, but it's essentially the same.
So he wants to start his own business, and he thinks he can do what you do. But you know him very well.
I do.
Do you think he's ready for it? And if he is or he isn't, what are the things that he would have to learn to get him to where he says he wants to be?
Man, definitely that communication is important. He's gonna have to be a little more timely. I'm gonna go ahead and just say this because
we help in the youth, right? So we just we
set up a meeting with him and Mario Elliott. Man, me and Mario are cool, and he was like 30 or 40 minutes late to that meeting. And, Mario texts me. He says, man, hey, I got to leave, and your nephew's not here yet. He's like, man, tell him he needs to work on his punctuality. And, everybody was like, my brothers and my mom and everybody is like, they're super disappointed and mad. They're like, how could you let down, this guy? You had him just sitting there waiting on you. And, he was really sorry for that. And he had some circumstantial situations, and he was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. He's like, Uncle Reeks, I want another chance. And I was like, yeah, we're not saying that this wasn't like an interview for a job or nothing. He was doing this on his own time. But you have to get better at your relationships with people and understand that, you know, time can be money for some people. And you're not always going to get that second chance, you know. When I was, you know, his age, I understand. I was all over the place. I was getting arrested and going to jail on my way to.
You got arrested?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've been to jail a few times.
Oh, for real? Shit.
Yeah, bro.
Fights?
Bro, no, man. You know, the other things.
Undisclosed.
But you know, in jail, you know, my dad having to bail me out, and you know, or having warrants and getting pulled over, and I'm like, I know I'm going to jail. Like, I know I got these warrants. I know they're gonna see them, and they're gonna take me straight to jail. And I'm like, it is what it is, you know. Spend the night, whatever, you know. Eat the powdered
free meal, powdered
eggs, and come home in the morning.
Yeah,
you know it is. But I don't want him to have to deal with that. I want you to skip over that part of your life.
So if you enjoyed this short segment of the podcast, here's another short segment to watch if you click right here. Or if you want to watch the entire podcast, click over here.